I am now recording. Oh god, Clive. Clive, no, Clive, no.
His thing won't load for me.
It's at like
So I guess that's it.
144p for me. Hey look, who the frick is ringing everyone? Look at the frickin' quality!
What?
Look at the quality. I'm sharing my screen if you can see it. Look at the quality on the
Oh
screen.
god, that is terrible quality.
Look at his quality.
Oh my god, Clive.
What if Clive's mom comes in and is like,
Hot though.
Idiot.
Clive search,
What do you mean that word?
Clive search Naruto on there.
I bet you'll find something.
Do it.
The quality!
I know.
What?
It's so bad.
God. What?
Clive, your thing is like 2 pixels wide. Your screen share is like 2 pixels wide. I know.
It's at most
90
2
second
pixels
hertz.
wide.
I honestly can't even tell what's happening. It just looks like Joseph is sitting there on just sitting down. That's how much flesh is on the screen. What? It just looks like Liam sitting on the couch. What the frick was that noise? Honestly, it just looks. Honestly, it just looks like Liam sitting on a couch with this quality. So, you know, Liam, it just looks like him sitting on a couch. Yo, stop taking a crap on your mic, Lex.
I'm going to just rub my hand on it.
Also, I'm gonna do this. Oh my god, why are you watching this, Clive? It's not even animated. Come on.
Wait, so is this supposed to be inspiration for the JoJo thing?
No, he's just watching this video. This isn't.
And sharing his screen. Probably beating his meat.
Yeah, he
Oh,
probably
then I have
is.
the perfect gif for this.
He probably smacking his schmeat.
I swear if you
Is
send that
this
Larry
what
the
he's doing right now?
I swear if you send that Larry the Lobster.
He did.
Okay.
Yep, he sent the Larry the Lobster. Oh my god, look at his screen share quality. That's like 240p.
It's 719 here.
Texas has its own country human. United States adoptive father.
Wait, then United States adopted Bob.
Texas. National sport, fast food. Wait, oh, I got them mixed up.
What?
What is New
I wonder if New Jersey has one.
Has what?
Look, Thomas.
No, there's no New Jersey. What?
Is it like New Jersey Chan?
No, there isn't one. What? What, Clive? What the frick is that? I can't even
Family
see it
Guy.
with your screen share quality.
Everybody meet back here in 6 hours. I can't wait to get everyone else's body water in my mouth.
Frick?
Oh,
She about to break the slide.
Where's the slide? Is it also acid? My friend, I'm an adult who works at a water park. If I give you something, it's acid. No going down head first, and wait till I say it's okay. Go.
Frame rate is like 2 frames per minute.
Go. Hey!
I'm gaining on you, Brian.
Hey, slow down! You're coming way too...
Excuse me. Do you think you can help me out?
Sure, just let me do an awkward, extremely unattractive pool walk over to you. Yeah? Hey, what's
on the slide. I think I may have seen you put it in your shorts.
Okay, well, here's my shorts. Just afternoon. Enjoy the boobs of your afternoon. Alright, look, Chris.
Imagine that actually working.
Your mom actually lol.
Okay, so when and oh my god, what is this? Are they trying to do okay.
What?
Middle school? Okay, I'm scared. This is bad word.
What the frick is that noise? Oh my god.
Whoa, what's that noise? Is that Clive? I think Clive.
Oh my god. What is this bad word? I'm just gonna talk.
I'll be fine.
Hey, what's up?
What?
What's up?
Oh my gosh. Turn that damn video.
Please.
Have you looked up Roblox? Have you seen the hilarious that titled videos on Roblox on Pornhub? On the gay side?
Wait, what?
The gay Roblox videos on Pornhub.
My guitar.
I haven't searched that. What the frick is this?
So, like, sorry I haven't made any videos today, but
Is that
I'm like
Christina?
really sick. I'm at the doctors, and I really hate that. So, like, I'm so freaking mad. Like, seriously, guys, I'm so sorry. So, I'll make more videos.
Oh wait, no, that's a guy.
And, subscribe if you like my video, and thanks.
Oh.
I think that's what Christina would look like if she was a guy.
This is what Christina would look like if she was your mom, actually, lol.
So, like, sorry I haven't made any videos today, but I'm, like, really sick.
Frick is this?
Why subscribe to Apanda?
Is that supposed to
Up
be
is an
LeBron's
epic
sister?
YouTuber who makes quality such as Petscop 2 leaked, epic Fortnite domestic violence moment, and so much more. Plus he's
What?
the epic fan of JoJo and he liked to bust
What?
his nut to some bomb-ass hentai.
Okay then.
Thomas, is that you? Is that your doing, Thomas?
No.
You're sure?
Are you tired of fighting with your rebellious legs day after day until you finally surrender in defeat? Introducing Easy Feet. Now you can groom your feet into submission with the same space-age technology found in toothbrushes. Over 1,000 bristles, 10,000 thistles, and a lingering sense of dismissal. It does top and bottom, just like insert obvious gay joke here. We use the wrong form of heels here, but it's okay, half you people are illiterate anyway. In 30 days, those disgusting red circles on your feet will disappear. I didn't know what to wear, so I put on this green screen. Now I can dress any way I want. Look, I'm a giraffe. Don't have a romantic partner? At least you've got your soulmate with you. I get it. Easy Feet will have you feeling like a hungover animation student from 1997. Car wash, working at the car wash, yeah. Goddamn, I miss the village people. Back when homoeroticism was cool. It's even better than my cat's tongue. We wrote bad words in the sand with our toes. This is our punishment. Got feet on the ground, feet on your knees, even feet on your back. We got you covered, you eldritch abomination, you. My toes, they hunger. Hunger for eggs! When I played football, all the other boys would towel whip me in the locker room. I'm sorry, Dad.
My parents wanted to call me Wanda, but they were German immigrants.
I was sexually abused by Jake from State Farm. Now I only shower in khakis. So quit beating your feet and get back to beating your meat with Easy Meat. I mean feet. But if you're like everyone I know besides my diabetic Uncle Tony, you've probably got 2 feet. So we'll give you a second Easy Foot for only $14.99. That's less than the cost of a real foot in most places.
In most places.
That is hilarious. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Call me the meme machine. My heart's big. It's got hot blood going through it fast. This is the InfoWar. The New World Order isn't coming. It's here.
Now that's some good writing music.
Get what you deserve, you couple pieces of crap. You've been chemically hit by birth and positronically hit by the television. And that 50 Shades of Grey about the sexy rich guy that's gonna chain you up.
That is beautiful. Was that Affleck now?
You want some milk, Al-Qaeda? I'm not guilty, you fascist, evil slug. Who is Michelle Obama? Is
So the Shrike's a bird, right? Looks like this. Cute, right? Wrong. Turns out, you're gazing into the eyes of a cold-blooded psychopath. Don't believe me? Let me tell you about it. First off, notice how the name Shrike is like a combination of shit and spike. And already you've got a pretty good concept of what the Shrike's all about. So this is how it goes. Shrike sees prey. Shrike uses its foot spikes to grab the prey. Prey says shit. Shrike finds another spike. Shrike fucking impales its prey on the spike. Prey says shit. Shrike eats prey off of spike like some kind of hell kebab. Shrike turns prey into shit. And finally, Shrike uses the spike to clean the shit off its asshole. And the circle of life continues. Still don't believe me? Here's a picture. If that isn't some Silence of the Lambs shit, I don't know what is. I can only imagine what it does after it gets home.
Would you fuck me? I'd fuck me. I'd fuck me hard.
Thankfully, the Shrike is small enough to fit in the palm of the hand, so we're safe for now, as long as there aren't any teacup poodle conventions in town. However, the impalement is considered basic tool use, which is a sign of higher level cognitive thinking in animals. So while we're in the clear now, this guy could get even more devious as evolution progresses. 1,000 years from now, they're figuring out how to sprinkle spikes on the road to pop tires.
Watch where you walking.
Also, who knows how the Shrike's sociopathic DNA could be manipulated? Imagine like a bunch of Al-Qaeda biologists weaponizing the Shrike. We will breed it with their national bird. Those American pig dogs will never see it coming. But Abdul, what will we call this new creature? The Bald Shingle. And a hop, skip, and a jump later, and suddenly you've got kindergartners impaled on stop signs. Birdemic 3, should you use my idea, I expect compensation. So when you go to bed tonight, kids, make sure to lock your windows, or else you might wake up with a spike of Uranus and bird shit smeared on the walls.
That is beautiful. Is that gonna be Dio?
Hey kids, remember the plague? Malaria, smallpox, kinda bad, right? Well, guess what? They're peanuts compared to the level of destruction that's been wreaked over the years across the
Oh my
kingdom next
God.
door. Today, I'm gonna talk
This
about
guy,
some of the
his
most
voice
interesting
reminds me that
diseases to
cyanide
ever
happened in
strike
this
the world
video.
of plants. The most famous
Or
one
it's
is
like the
probably
guy
the
buys the
potato
game.
blight. It's a fungus that attacks potatoes. This is what it looks like. On the left, we have a healthy potato, while on the right, we have a blighty one. Notice
Oh
how
God.
this one is noble and robust, like a lion's heart, while the other is shriveled and black, like Betsy DeVos's uterus. You could try to eat it, but it's basically like rotting cork. You wouldn't get very far. So in 1845, Ireland relied a lot on potatoes, right? That's because their soil was dumb, and that's the most nutritious thing they could grow. Then the blight came, and all their food turned to poo. 1 million starved, 2 million left. They came to America. They brought freckles, and these things. Hoity-toity-toy. Now we have the Celtics. Next is the chestnut blight, which infects, you guessed it, the elderly. Wait, no, that's shingles. Chestnut blight infects American chestnut trees, which once populated a huge portion of the South and Mid-Atlantic regions of the country. Key word, once. During the early 20th century, the blight arrived, which ended up killing around 4 billion trees over the course of a couple decades. Hey, remember that time 4 billion giant things died inexplicably? Me neither. Nobody does. Let me give some perspective on the situation. Those trees were huge, like 40 meters tall apiece. That means 160 million kilometers of tree was destroyed by this disease. That's long enough to get from the Earth to the Sun with 10 million kilometers to spare. Here's another. If we take the volume of all these trees, we get 126 billion cubic meters. If we burn that much wood, we get 861 quadrillion joules of energy. That's the amount released by the bomb dropped on Hiroshima, times 10,000. So yeah, kind of a big deal. But who cares, right? Why worry about 4 billion dumb smelly old trees when there's 1,000 whole pandas that need our help? Isn't that right, WWF? You populist scum. Anyway, moving on. This next one is called, get ready, broom rape. I'm serious. Broom rape.
Excuse me?
Broom rape. Wikipedia, broom rape. Naked broom rape. Imagine if we gave human illnesses names like that. I'm sorry, Sam, but you have urethra cactus. I would just end it right there. Doesn't even matter what the actual symptoms are. Anyway, broom rape is considered a parasitic plant. This is what it does. The seeds of the broom rape will hang out in the soil for years until the roots of a host plant come along. When they do, the broom rape bursts out of its shell and immediately starts leaching off the other organism. Eventually, once they grow enough, they'll breach the surface with these little flowers. Notice, no leaves, no green. Who needs chlorophyll when you're a filthy freeloader, right? These flowers get fertilized and the whole thing starts over. Just one of these guys isn't a big deal to the host. But once you get enough, they have the potential to suck an entire farm dry, causing sweeping crop failure. Pun definitely intended. Next is this one. There's a few different ways you can pronounce it depending on your social standing, ranging from ergit to elgo. Being the disheveled pauper I am, I prefer ergot. Rolls off the tongue, you know. Ergot is a fungus that mainly infects grains like wheat, barley, and especially rye. And it's capable of producing a whole soup of compounds called alkaloids, which can have a rye. And it is a fungus that mainly infects grains like wheat, barley, and especially rye.
Weed. Rue.
And it's capable of producing a whole soup of compounds called alkaloids, which can have a variety of effects on the human body. Most of them not fun, mostly spasms and diarrhea, that kind of thing. However, one particular alkaloid called ergotamine structurally resembles LSD and has a similar function when it enters the body. So a medieval peasant would be sitting there, eating a nice loaf of rye bread, just minding his own business. Then all of a sudden, holy shit, I'm blasting out of both ends! My heart's a seizin', my lungs a wheezin', the fucking walls are melting. I can hear Satan's voice. He's telling me to invest in Apple. What does that mean? Why does he want me to buy apples? This would go on for like a day. Sometimes their fingers and toes would fall off, but then they'd be alright. Unless they weren't. Moral of the story, kids, don't eat strange bread. You could trip balls and die. One more thing before we end today's video, I've decided to launch a second channel for all the dumb stuff I think of that doesn't fit the Academy format. It's called Salmonella Vlog. Go check it out. It's in the description. I wrote a slam poem. It's there. Go look. Anyway, that's all for today. Till next time, I'm Salmonella, and thank you for watching.
That is very educationally hilarious.
Yeah, I know. Salmonella Academy is great. Broom rape.
I feel like every child should be taught that way. Be
Broom
taught the
rape.
truth, not boringness.
Broom rape.
I mean, I had no idea that something like that existed. Broom rape. It's a plant.
Hey kids, you know what's cool? Entomology. I mean emetology. I mean etymology. There we go. Today we're going to talk about some words, some combinations thereof, and where they come from. First is the phrase white elephant. Now for
Wait, what were the things?
I mean emetology. I mean etymology. There we go. Today we're going to talk about some words, some combinations thereof, and where they come from. First is the phrase white elephant. Now for those out of the loop, a white elephant is a possession which its owner cannot dispose of and whose cost, particularly that of maintenance, is out of proportion to its usefulness. And also a game played during the holidays for people who prefer random garbage over actual personalized presents. According to legend, this saying dates back to the monarchs of Siam. Whenever one of the king's courtiers drew his displeasure through whatever means, he would offer them a gift of a white elephant. It was considered the ultimate insult to refuse a gift from the king, so naturally the elephantee would be forced to accept. Now if you know elephants as well as I do, you would know that they are frickin' gigantic. They can consume around 50 gallons of water and 500 pounds of foliage every day, which would be quite expensive to keep up in modern times, let alone hundreds of years ago. Plus these ones are albino, so you have to hose them down with SPF 30 once an hour or else they'll turn into one big tumor. Okay, not really, but they definitely needed their shade. Also, Southeast Asian cultures considered white elephants sacred, so you weren't allowed to make the animal work, and you'd have to hire a load of people to care for it on a daily basis. Basically, the person getting the gift would have to choose between financial ruin or letting it die and being socially ostracized and possibly even killed. I thought this whole thing was pretty clever, so I've started doing my own version. Whenever someone gets on my nerves, I spray paint progressive comments all over their house. That way, they'll have to spend the whole day angrily scrubbing it off, and then the neighbors will be like, "Wait, does that mean he likes the N-word? Bigoted scum." Next is balls to the wall. This one harkens back to the days when planes flew in the air. The throttle of many aircrafts would be controlled with either a lever or a plunger, either of which were often topped with a sphere for easy handling. Thus, when you wanted to throw the plane into max thrust, you'd put the balls to the wall. In a similar vein, the phrase balls deep comes from pinball machines. When you want to launch the ball full force, you pull the plunger all the way back, otherwise known as going balls deep. Nah, just kidding. That one actually means what you think it does. Next is getting your goat, a phrase used when someone or something annoys you. The origin of this phrase is still disputed by etymologists, but one theory traces back to the sport of horse racing. In order to stop horses from getting nervous before a race, their owners would stick a goat in the stables to keep them calm. Apparently the presence of a goat has some kind of therapeutic effect on horses, kind of like a therapy dog, except they can't pet it on account of hooves. So they just sniff it for a while, I guess. Cut to a pack of young hooligans looking for something to do besides bootlegging and getting polio. They decide to break into the stables at night and escort the goat to an undisclosed location. Then when the race starts, instead of running straight ahead like a normal person, the horse would run into the crowd and dropkick a grandma or whatever, and the old crotchety oil tycoon who owns the horse would stand up, shaking his cane, yelling, "Those punks really get my goat." Thanks to modern medicine, anxious horses today can instead be given horsey Xanax to calm them down, which unfortunately means that the days of hot-blooded goat getting are over. However, some would argue that stealing horse tranquilizers can be equally rewarding in its own way. But enough of that mumbo-jumbo. Hey, speaking of which, you ever wonder where mumbo-jumbo comes from? Nice segue, Sam. Thanks, Sam. Anyway, strap in, kids. This one's gonna be good. Mumbo Jumbo originates from the Mandingo people of West Africa. The Mandingos were a polygamous culture, and whenever a domestic quarrel broke out, they would soon hear animalistic screaming coming from the woods. They look over, and out runs this guy, known as Mumbo Jumbo. Now, Mumbo Jumbo's arrival was considered a big deal to the Mandingo. The whole tribe would sing and dance in the town center until midnight, at which point Mr. Jumbo would settle the dispute. And by settle the dispute, I mean tie the female to a post and slap her upside the head with a stick for an hour, while the rest of the village watched, all hootin' and a-hollerin'. And then he'd run screaming back into the woods, where he would remain until the next complaint arose. What the Mandingo women didn't know is that Mumbo Jumbo is not, in fact, a wild patriarchal deity from the forest, but merely the offending woman's husband or one of his friends wearing a costume made from tree bark and leaves. Anyway, the guy would be babbling nonsense the whole time, which is where the phrase Mumbo Jumbo is derived from. So next time one of your superiors uses the words Mumbo Jumbo in a jocular fashion, remember to report them to HR for promoting African wife beating. Anyway, that's all for today. Till next time, I'm Salmonella, and thank you for watching.
I can watch this all day.
Yeah, I know, me too. Well, it's night, but you know. Well, we're
yeah.
What time is it for you?
7:41.
Oh, it's
For you, it's
10:41.
Yeah, I know.
Hey kids, time for another riveting tale from the annals of history. Our story begins in New York in 1932 with a man named Michael Malloy.
Oh, I love
Not
this.
much was known about Malloy except for the following. He was around 60 years old, homeless, an alcoholic, Irish, and a former firefighter. So one day, a few guys were hanging out in the local speakeasy, including
this
Tony
video.
Marino, the owner of the joint, and a couple of regulars by the names of Francis Pasqua and Daniel Kreisberg. And who else stumbles in but old Dusty McGee looking to get his morning fix? Marino's like, you know, I've had it up to here with that Michael Malloy character. He never pays his tabs, smells like the crevice behind an unwashed ear, harasses my clientele. Did you know the Hindenburg disaster didn't actually happen? Yeah, it was an inside job by the government to make Big Zeppelin look bad. Personally, I'm glad. One less industry controlled by the fucking Krauts.
The Hindenburg disaster doesn't happen for another 5 years, dummy.
Ah, bite me. And every day, he ends up like that. So Pasqua's like, yikes, seems like quite the dilemma on your hands. Lucky for you, I've come up with the perfect solution. Let me hear it. I say we deploy a ploy to destroy that unemployed Malloy. Shut up. Anyway, go on. I'll take out a life insurance policy on him. Then we let him drink as much as he wants. Obviously he's gonna kick it. I mean, look at him. No self-control. See that? He just drew from the stockpile while there's still moves to be made on the tableau. Oh, I like that joke. Then, once he's dead, we get all the money for ourselves. Win-win. The first part of the plan went through without a hitch. Pasqua took out not one, but 3 policies on Malloy's life, with Joseph Murphy, a bartender at Marino's, posing as Malloy's brother and being named as the sole beneficiary. In total, the group stood to gain $3,576, which is like 66 grand in today's money. With all that in place, they begin the second part of the plan. Hey, Malloy. Good to see you, man. Say, what happened to your arm? Yeah, the other day I got in a fight with a goose. Got bit pretty bad. Been leaking pus for about a week now. But hey, I got the breadcrumbs. Okay, well anyway, guess what? Your tab now has unlimited credit. Oh, cool. Well, what's that mean? It means you can drink as much as you want and we can't stop you. Bet. Naturally, he orders shot after shot and the gang happily complies. It gets to the point where Malloy's drinking way more than should be humanly possible. But instead of dropping dead or passing out, after a while he's just like, "Hi. See ya." Within 24 hours, he's back at it, giving his liver the equivalent of a Tyson uppercut and being no worse for wear. This went on for a few days before the boys were like, alright, we need to up the ante here, and decided to replace Malloy's typical shots with wood alcohol, otherwise known as methanol. Keep in mind, as little as 4% methanol by volume is enough to make a moonshiner go blind, and just 2 shots of the pure stuff should be able to kill a man, but Malloy slammed back just as much as he normally would, totally none the wiser, and was like, still see ya. Anyway, see ya. They tried again for a few more nights, he was fine. Soaked some expired oysters in wood alcohol and fed them to him, he was fine. They gave him a sandwich made from rotten sardines and carpet tacks. Motherfucker asks for another. They were like, alright, this man's gotta live better. There's gotta be something else we can do. So one day after he passed out, they drove him half a mile to the park, tossed him out into the snow, took off his shirt, and soaked his head and chest in water. They drive away thinking they've finally done it. But when Marino clocked in at the speakeasy the next day, Malloy's already there, just hanging out, barely even sniffling. Finally they just said fuck it, ran the guy down with their buddy's cab, and backed over him again for good measure. For once, Malloy didn't show up the next day. The gang was cautiously optimistic.
unrealistic. After all, there are 60-year-olds who bite the dust just from one wrong step in the shower, let alone the force of a half-ton of steel going 50 miles an hour. They called all the local hospitals and morgues in an attempt to find where he ended up, but they couldn't get any useful information from anyone. Lo and behold, 5 days later, the guy limps his way on in once again, with a mighty thirst and little memory of the incident. The gang debated just icing some other random drunkard, because this one's the fucking juggernaut apparently, but they decided to try one more thing before calling it quits. After Malloy went through his usual blackout routine, they took him up to Murphy's room, stuck a gas line in his mouth, wrapped a towel around his face, and turned it on. Within an hour, Malloy finally stopped breathing. After countless attempts on his life, at long last, they were successful. However, as you might have realized, the final method of murder was a far cry from the simple elegance of the original plan, which is something they never really thought about until it was too late. Hey guys, what's poppin'? My brother, Michael Malloy, is dead. Can I have money now? Oh dear, I'm so sorry. What happened? What? Why did the man die? Pneumonia? I see. And when can we see the body exactly? So, after a quick medical examination, the men were convicted of first-degree murder and attempted fraud, and subsequently sentenced to death by electric chair. And while the executioner flipped the switch, Malloy's ghost sat in the corner, chowing down on some antifreeze and sardine soles, just laughing his ass off. Moral of the story, life is unpredictable. That's why we have insurance for it in the first place. If you ever commit fraud against life, just know that life's gonna commit a little fraud back. Till next time, I'm Salmonella, and thank you for watching.
That is beautiful. I'm gonna try and ring LeBron.
Okay, he's on Do Not Disturb though.
Yeah. Oh wait, try
Hey kids, I think we can all agree that there are few pastimes more grotesque than competitive eating. The concept of a bunch of guys pushing their anatomy to its limits just for sport leaves a bad taste in my mouth in more ways than one. But imagine if these men didn't adopt this habit just for fun. Imagine if some gross biological error forced them to eat like this for their entire life. Introducing Tarare. Tarare was born in France around 1772 to a poor farming family. It's said that his appetite was so voracious that, by his teens, Tarare could eat an entire quarter of a cow carcass in a single day. You'd think he'd be like mega obese, but no, he only weighed 100 pounds by age 17. However, there were still a few things that stood out about Tarare appearance-wise. For one, he had a huge, stretched-out mouth with horribly stained teeth. He could reportedly fit 12 eggs in his cheeks at once, much like a chipmunk keeping its chipmunk eggs warm. Additionally, when Tarare was full, he'd get a crazy Octomom gut going, and any other time, he'd have a huge flap of stretched-out skin hanging around his waist. He also stank to high hell, even by 18th century French peasant standards. He was described as reeking, quote, to such a degree that he could not be endured within the distance of 20 paces. So between all this and his horrendous outhouse flooding dumps, his family had had enough. Alright, you're eating us out of house and home here. You gotta go, man. You heard me. Kick bricks, Froggy. Wow, he just called a French person a frog. That's so racist. No, it's not. They're all French. The guy just looks like a frog. Oh, well, too late. I'm already offended. That's fair. Dislike. After leaving home, Tarare was forced to beg and...
You know what? What is this?
Watch it, comment like this.
What's going on out here? Tommy, she's on that principal.
Got what?
Oh god.
Steal just to satisfy his gargantuan appetite. Inevitably, people began to take notice of him, and eventually he landed a job as a street performer in Paris. People would hand Tarare entire baskets of apples, eggs, and even wine corks, and watch in delight as he horked them down without the slightest hesitation. Normally, this went off without a hitch, except for one time when he suffered a severe intestinal blockage. Fortunately, the crowd was kind enough to carry him to the hospital, where he was treated with the strongest laxatives the 18th century had to offer. I would draw what happened next, but it would probably get my channel deleted, so let's just picture it for a few moments.
What the frick are you? What the frick are you watching, Clive? Excuse me, what is this name?
What? What? You forgot your donut.
What the frick is this video? Save this video.
I'm gonna eat it.
What the frick is that? I gotta believe.
Just like your dad.
Kill me.
And what? What's that
riff.
too
Because
soon,
I'm not gonna rip for this. Send that in chat. I'll be right back.
Clive, what are you watching?
What?
What are you watching?
Yeah, that is. Video, there's a funny part about to come on. That's why I said come on the group chat.
Let me watch it.
What the hell are you watching?
I don't know. It's whatever Clive was watching. Why is there a grandma doing a Fortnite dance?
My dad at work and my mama be tripping.
That's the one. Not that one, idiot. Get a job, dummy.
Oh, Lil Ron gets a job. This?
Previously on.
Daddy, mama got a regular car. My breath don't stink. I ate a mint. And I meant to tell you to try another cake.
Hold on, I have to go to the bathroom.
Previously on.
Somebody was thinking about it. Shut up! That's what the first move.
This is Mom's head of that move. Seen a bunch of girls in his phone. My mama name. I seen my mama friend name. And I seen Gigi name too there.
I knew I could about that dude. Put my damn gold teeth in.
It's the perfect time to get your women back.
Who said I wanted your mama back?
I can see it in your eyes, bro.
Bro, I'm pop.
Pop. But they real good.
You ain't shit.
Hey, here, we got
Run, 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 run. Alright, here we go.
Daddy, mama got a regular car. My breath don't stink. I ate a mint. And I
Grow it up.
My breath don't
Honest.
stink. I ate a mint. And I meant to tell you to try another kind.
Oh, so this what we doing
What
now?
the frick am I watching?
Look, ladies, look. I can explain.
So you trying to
Decline. Don't come back on this for right now.
Explain.
So you trying to smash my baby mama, Dr. Small?
So you went on a date with her?
Frick, I'm still recording.
So you put her to sleep? Parents, what's going on now?
What is that thing?
I don't even know.
You put her to sleep? Aaron, what's going on out here?
Lil Ron.
It looks like a three-way love affair. Three-way love affair.
What the freak is this?
I wanna play the GG in the kitchen. My daddy at work and my mama be tripping. That's also my swag and I'm dripping it easy.
If I'm with
Table and I'm dipping my cheese.
What is this?
You know how to do the shoot challenge?
Boy, you see I'm in here trying to cook. What is a shoot challenge anyway? Something got to do with a gun?
No, this dance right here. Look.
Let me see. Oh, baby, that look easy. You know Gigi got some moves now.
Oh, I wanna see.
The freak is this?
Hold on, let me grab my jewelry.
What the fuck no?
What the frick? Beautiful.
Is
this the kind of crap that you watch, Clive?
My back.
Big hit ball.
My back and my knee.
Big hit off in gym.
You want me to call the 911 people?
Baby, just run me some hot bail. Soak my knee.
Okay.
Clive, is this the kind of stuff that you watch?
Yeah, it's funny.
Oh.
Alright, come on.
Oh no.
I take your order.
My haters be quiet, but my preacher can holler.
You just got in the fight.
The internet lit and run is the reason why. Sit down and chill and come through
You
in
look like
the
somebody who's in the nose with a brick.
I bring them bang. I bring them bang. Man, Daddy, my stomach empty, just like your gas tank. And why you got two phones, Dad?
Oh, this my work phone.
Oh, I thought that was a Thought Mobile.
That mobile. Hell, that is.
It's when you got an extra phone where girls call you on. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh, this ain't no that mobile right here, my boy.
Hell no. Dentist Smiles had a Thought Mobile. Cause I seen a bunch of girls in his phone. I seen my mama name. I seen my mama friend name.
Yeah.
And I
Seen
seen
about some
Gigi
drinking.
name too, Dad.
I knew it was something I ain't like about that dude. I hate he even put my damn gold teeth in.
This the perfect time to get your women back.
Who said I wanted your mama back?
Man, I can see it in your eyes,
Hmm.
bro.
Bro, I ain't your bro. I'm Pop.
Just like the cereal pop. Cause
Okay.
they real good. Mm-hmm.
Stop.
What is this?
Ain't shit.
Daddy, he got a place right here.
Alright, come on. So you can go in here and get this Happy Meal.
Why do you keep on bringing me?
Freaking this Lil Ron. This freaking Lil Ron.
Stop.
No, you need to watch this.
Can I take your order? Let me get a
Hey, you just got in the fight.
a fight. Nah, why?
And then go back to the beginning of the job part. Not all the way at the beginning.
That's it. I hate this job.
Now we finna be short a person.
What y'all looking at me for?
Cause you finna go to work.
Say what?
Can you cook a hamburger and make sure our customers are happy?
Y'all gonna pay me some money and make my bank account happy.
Yes, of course. You will get a check at the end of the shift.
My boy, I knew you was about them dollars. What time I need to pick him up?
His shift end in 2 hours, and he'll be ready to clock out.
Let me get a double burger, some fries. Make that a double burger with cheese.
Eat this.
Burger with cheese sticks coming right up. Hey, drop me some fries. Ugly dude.
2 hours later.
So how he do?
Oh, he did awesome. I was just getting ready to give him his check. Here you go, little man.
What I'm supposed to do with this? I can't buy no cheese sticks or no new game with this. Gigi made way more than this, and she don't even work. You ain't shit. Happy Mother's Day, Mama.
You scared the hell out of me with that damn home. And where you get that food from?
See, Mama, you worry about the wrong thing.
Happy Mother's Day, baby mama. Thank you, Ryan. See, girl, I told you that was the old me. I'm a changed man now. Rev ain't gonna line that church. So I have to be that.
Well, watch out, baby.
Daddy, you coming to eat with us?
What kind of question that is?
Y'all know I be dripping in my t-shirt.
Can I thank y'all to say nah, what's up? Donut.
No.
No, the one that she took that had Boston, that nasty crap in it.
Whatever, no.
Well, can I get one then?
No.
I'm gonna get one anyway. Hey, yo, Tommy! Jakai, share your gay cell phone Discord.
Thomas.
What?
Why?
And I take your
Lil Ron. That's why.
Rama. Lil Rama is awesome.
I'm doing something else.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am, Master.
No, you're not. So if I say you're gonna want to Lil Rama, that's what you're gonna want. Okay, and that's fine.
I am doing my own thing.
No, like what? Watching anime and beating it?
No, I was thinking about doing that, but no,
I think I'm gonna go do that. Oh, you're writing it without me? Yo, you're writing it without me?
Yeah, because you're watching Ron.
It's Lil Ron. I guess we could write it now. Free Ron.
Right what?
My phone dies in my hand. I'm suing your ass.
Oh.
You remember that time I almost sent you a virus?
No, what?
Thomas.
What?
I can Best Buy again.
What?
Buy again.
Huh?
Hack into Best Buy again.
What do you mean hack into Best Buy again?
Remember when we did it before?
No.
Miles and me and you, Jakai and LeBron.
What?
Stand the music stations.
Jakai, do you know what he's talking about?
No.
I said, and we hacked into Best Buy.
That sounds like a dream I had.
What do we do?
You control the lights when you switching the radio stations.
I never did that. What?
Brian.
I think you like had a dream or something.
That's not how it dream.
Clive, that never happened. I never hacked into Best Buy and turned off the lights. What are you talking about?
16.
What? Sorry, you're like cutting out.
I know.
Oh, okay.
Hacking into stuff though.
Huh?
Spy now.
Happy birthday, little ugly dude.
Kai, little ugly dude.
Little ugly dude.
Little ugly dude.
What?
I
This little Ron.
told you, Kai, LeBron's sister. I mean, LeBron trying to come after your sister.
Wait, what? What'd you say?
Sister LeBron. Brother-in-law.
This little Ron. Freaking Lil Ron. Lil Ron. Who joined?
Noah.
Hey, Noah, it's Lil Ron.
Get out the group chat if I shoot you.
Yeah, cool.
If anyone thought this was funny, actually hang yourself. Alright,
Noah.
Noah,
Yeah?
go eat a Schmiter on a Tuesday,
Chat.
really.
Chat.
Look, Noah, it's Lil Ron.
Thomas. Thomas.
What?
Who's the owner of this group chat right now?
Me, why?
How do you kick people out?
You need to be the owner to do that.
Moving on. Cut to the year 1792. This marks the beginning of the War of the First Coalition. Ever heard of it? Me neither. Who was in it? Fucking everyone. Anyway, Terrari decided to enlist in the war. After all, maybe that profound emptiness he was feeling was just a lack of purpose in life. Turns out, no, he really was just psychotically hungry. Even after being granted quadruple rations, Terrari would...
What?
The group chat right now.
What'd you say?
You know what? Out this damn group chat.
I can't.
Why?
Because he has my Robux.
The Roblox?
Yeah, he stole my Robux.
Still be digging through the trash pile whenever he got the chance. After suffering
Freaking Clive, you should have seen what Noah did. Noah, tell Clive what you did earlier today.
No.
Tell Clive what you did earlier today.
It's too fruity.
Tell Clive what you made us witness earlier today.
About that Jason thing?
Hold on, I'll just type it in the chat if you don't tell him.
Oh, guys, just type it in the chat. He won't believe.
Okay.
Because the video chat, that's why. Just text it to me, do I,
Noah, just tell him what you did. Because he can't read it. Lie, Kai. That's not even how you spell lie, Noah. It's spelled like this.
No, you can't spell.
Just tell him what happened, Noah.
extreme exhaustion, he was sent off to the military hospital in Souterrain. The staff there was so dumbfounded by the man's abilities that they decided to keep him there to run a few experiments. The first of which involved putting Terrari in a room with a meal prepared for 15 people. Naturally, he ate the entire thing and immediately fell asleep. Next, they presented him with a raw eel. In response, Terrari crushed the eel's skull between his teeth before slurping down the entire creature in one go. Now, this is hair-clenchingly horrifying for a couple of reasons. Firstly, he put a whole frickin' eel in his stomach. But secondly, there had to be some point during digestion where the meat was gone but the bones still remained. Now, for those of you who don't know, an eel skeleton looks like this. That means Terrari had all of those needle-sized ribs stabbing into the walls of his stomach at once, and he was fine. He also ripped a live cat apart with his bare hands, drank its blood, and ate everything but its bones, and then later gagged up the fur and skin like an owl, but... you know, that's neither here nor there. After reviewing our data, I've come to the scientific conclusion that, yeah,
Jeremy.
we got a goddamn demon on our hands. But as we all know, with great devour comes great responsibility. Since Terrari was still technically enlisted, the military decided to utilize his abilities for the greater good. Hey Terrari, it's me, the General. Listen, could you eat this box of amendment for me? Aw. If you do it, we'll give you a wheelbarrow full of bull organs. Lo and behold, 2 days later, he passed the container in mint condition and was given his reward as promised. With this proof of concept, they made him an official spy and sent him into Prussia with a document in his belly, to be delivered to an imprisoned French colonel. Unfortunately, there are a couple things Terrari couldn't do that are generally important when sneaking into another country. A, he couldn't speak German, and B, it's pretty hard to maintain a low profile when you're running around like a madman wolfing down garbage and mutilating small animals. So he ended up being captured by the enemy. Initially, he kept his mouth shut, for once, but after a whipping and a day in jail, Terrari gave in. After confessing that he did, in fact, have vital intelligence snaking its way through his GI tract, the Prussians chained him to a latrine until the box emerged 30 hours later. The note wasn't actually anything important, so they just mock executed him, gave him a severe beating, and sent him on his way. After all that, Terrari returned to life at the hospital, desperate for a cure for his condition, but nothing they ever tried worked. Meanwhile, the man's endless hunger continued to get him into all sorts of trouble. He'd often sneak out of the hospital to eat the scraps behind the local butcher and fight stray dogs in the alley for their precious garbage. He'd also seek out patients undergoing bloodletting in order to take all their life juice for himself. On several occasions, he was even caught attempting to eat bodies in the mortuary. By this point in my research, I was so desensitized to this guy that I didn't even bat an eye when I first read that. I was just like, alright. Guess he must have been hungry. Anyway, the hospital staff begrudgingly tolerated Terrari's buffoonery, until one day when he went too far. Well, Terrari, you've only had 3 mess hall raids, 4 miscellaneous trash-related mishaps, and 1 cadaver defiling. So I'd say, so far, this week's been pretty good. Doctor, we should probably inform you that a 14-month-old child has gone missing from their room. Terrari, look at me. Did you eat a fucking baby? Terrari was promptly kicked out of the hospital and spent 4 years out and about doing, whatever horrific shit you can imagine. When he came back, he was suffering from advanced tuberculosis and died shortly after arrival. During his autopsy, the surgeons found that, when they looked into his mouth, they could see all the way down his throat and into his stomach cavity. As you can imagine, his whole abdominal region was profoundly deformed. Basically, if this is a normal human, this is what they found inside Terrari. Just like the man's mind, we can see that around 90% is devoted towards food and 10% towards everything else. So, moral of the story here is that, no, you know what, not even I can find anything resembling a moral here. Not all stories have a point to them. Sometimes they're just sad and disgusting from beginning to end. And now a word from our sponsor. As you can probably tell, I'm a very visual person when it comes to learning. I firmly believe that engaging visuals are an essential teaching tool that allows for much deeper comprehension than plain old walls of text. That's why I'm pleased to introduce our sponsor, Brilliant.org. We all know that math and science are really important to master, and Brilliant's elegant UI and step-by-step design makes learning seemingly complex topics very intuitive, especially for visual learners. Their straightforward graphics, delightful animations, and interactive puzzles make it easy and fun to hone your own critical thinking skills. Personally, I've always been super intrigued by neural networks and all the things you can do with them, but I've always been too intimidated to research them in depth. After learning about Brilliant, I actually started taking their course in the subject, and I gotta say, it's been such a pleasurable experience that I plan to continue with it in my own spare time. To support me and learn more about Brilliant, go to brilliant.org/salmonella and sign up for free. Also, the first 200 people that go to that link will get 20% off the annual premium subscription. Till next time, I'm Salmonella, and thank you for watching.
I'm Eli Cairo, and I'm a sausage expert. you like Cairo? And I'm a sausage expert. Kielbasa! Bratwurst, pretty much the quintessential grilling summertime sausage. It's also kind of the base for all sausage makers. If you're going to call yourself a sausage maker, you better make yourself a damn fine bratwurst. Usually, if you're buying an unpoached sausage, right away you can assume that that one's going to be a little bit cheaper, because in the cooking process, you'll actually lose a little bit of fat and grease, and so everything you lose from a sausage maker or a butcher counter, you do charge at the end of the day. So this one sometimes tends to be cheaper, but you'll lose that weight in your pan or on your grill when you're cooking it at home. So there's multiple techniques to making a bratwurst. It's kind of hard to tell right now what the technique was used. Except in the raw one, this one definitely looks a little bit more coarser. You can see when you're seeing the variation between the lean meat, which is the red, and the fat, the white, that this one's probably done through a grinder and done relatively coarse. And this one here, even is tricky until we cook it up. It does look like it's emulsified. And I say emulsification in sausage making, it's what we refer to as pretty much making a giant meat mayonnaise. We take lean meat and we put it inside of a big chopper, we refer to them as a bowl chopper, and you run it around and you make a myosin bind, so it turns into this big continual protein bind. Just like when you're making mayonnaise with your egg yolks, you whip those up and then you slowly but surely start folding fat back into it. When the fat breaks into smaller particles, it gets encased by the lean meat, so when you poach it, it stays inside of the sausage, and it's all about your technique. They both look like they're pretty quality made sausages. I'm excited to get these hot to taste them. Both look pretty delicious. When I look at a sausage, and most sausage makers look at a sausage, what you're looking for is to see if the casing shriveled right away. What happens is when you have a really good emulsification, the sausage should plump up in the casing when it heats up. These ones here, they kind of shrunk down on themselves, meaning that the emulsification didn't have enough spring to it. And what you also can do is to see if it's well made is you squeeze it, and if the grease goes out but then comes back in and doesn't necessarily run at it, that means that that myosin actually bound that sausage, so when you cooked it, not all the grease came out of it, it's still supported. So that's looks like it's a pretty well made sausage, but I'll be able to taste it for sure. That's a very, very delicious, well made bratwurst. Spices aren't too over the top. This one also, I would assume, has milk powder in it because it's really, really moist when you bite into it, but not greasy. It's really, really well made. I think that's a pretty high quality sausage. And sausage B here, you can see is a little bit more coarser of a sausage, as we say. You can see there's big flex between the different. One thing of alarm that might see it's not perfectly made, you can see it's kind of crumbling, so that most of the fat in the middle of the sausage during the emulsification was trying to escape to the outside, and so the casing kind of came off. Let's go ahead and give it a taste. I'll be able to tell much more. That's actually a pretty darn good bratwurst too, though. I actually like the texture, definitely coarser, but that is a darn fine sausage, and I kind of enjoy that. It's definitely like the more classic sausage that you would buy your whole life in America and throw on your grill and enjoy. This is probably a little bit more of the sausage that you buy at your German deli. One thing that I would like to see is just to see if you could taste the difference in quality of casing. Let me take a bite out of it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that casing was nice and tender. The ones that are a little bit more harder and chewy, you could run much faster through your sausage machine. So if you wanted to pump out a couple hundred a minute, you would purchase a more, stretchy or robust casing. So let's take a bite out of this and see. It's definitely more broken, and that's what I would say.
Hey y'all, Scott here. You know, people don't get that anymore. Combining the words Scott, all, hey, and here just doesn't connect with modern word hearers. That's why I'm going to change up the first 4 words I say to everybody to be understandable to more people. Here, I have a lot of options to shift through. Hi gang, it's Scott. Welcome to Scottsburg.